Sailor Broadside, day 955. Had an interesting encounter this evening with one of my neighbors. I live on a dead end street, it's about 2 miles long, and there's probably like 10 or 11 houses on it. Everybody's kind of spread out. And this dude that I know, because we've been throwing our hands, waving at each other, for the better part of a decade now, but I've never really spoken to him, comes to my house tonight. And I answered the door, and, I was like, not expecting anybody. And I said, hey, what's up? He's like, hey, I'm so and so from up the street. I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. You got the silver Chevy. He's like, yeah. He's like, um, it's kind of weird, but can I borrow some mustard? And he's holding a little Tupperware container. And I was like, what's that? He's like, I know it's weird, but the stores are closed. I didn't feel like riding all the way into town. We just needed like a little bit of mustard. And, yours was kind of the closest house and all that. And I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure I got some mustard. I said, you want yellow or brown? I think I've got both. He's like, just the yellow normal, mustard's fine. I'm like, all right, uno momento. And I go in there and I retrieve the mustard. And I said, I don't know what the shelf life of mustard is. I don't use this very often. I said, but it might be a year old. He's like, oh, that's probably fine. I'm like, all right. And so I began squirting awkwardly mustard into his little Tupperware receptacle. And, he said, thank you. And I said, no problem. And he, we had some small talk, and he got in his truck and drove off. And I was like, I'm watching him back out of the driveway, and I'm like, well, this is kind of odd. I got a little mustard buddy now. And because that's what he is, really. He's my new mustard buddy. And I mean, that's the kind of neighbor I want to be. If somebody comes up and needs some sugar or some laundry detergent, maybe a little pod for their dishwasher, whatever, I'll throw it to them if I've got it. It's all there. Mi casa, a su casa. And I just find it very strange. I don't know if I'd have the gall to go to somebody's house and ask for mustard that I'd never really met, but I'm glad that he thought that I was that kind of guy. That I'm a safe space. I forgot that. I might as well have that yellow sign that you see outside of fire departments where it's like an adult hugging a kid or something. It says safe place. That's my house. You come here if you need mustard or if you need a safe place to, I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so yeah, my mustard buddy. I've never had a mustard buddy, but I got one now. And while we're talking about shrimp and grits, let me just suggest this. Just shrimp, okay? Just leave the grits like in the trash. I don't need them. They taste like nothing, and I don't want nothing to ruin good shrimp. At these vitamin stores in the malls, I was talking to my mom just this past week at Thanksgiving. I said, what's in our mall nowadays? And she starts listing the stuff. I was like, no, I'm not talking about like the end cap, like there's like an Academy Sports and a Publix and all this and a Sears. I was like, I'm not talking about that. I can see that. I was like, well, what's still in the mall, And she starts listing stuff that I'm like, I don't know how this stuff stays in business. And one of the things was the vitamin store, which has been there since I was a kid, And I'm like, I never understood who shopped at vitamin stores to begin with, but I dang sure don't understand who's shopping at them in 2025. You could probably go on Amazon, I'm fairly certain, and order any set of vitamins that you could possibly, your heart could desire. And yet there's a vitamin store that's got to be paying $3,800 a month in rent to sell vitamins. You got to move a lot of vitamins to make that a profitable business. And I think it's like your typical GNC type place. I mean, it's a name brand, whatever, but I just don't understand how that business model is profitable anymore. I'll tell you something that makes me feel uncomfortable to watch. And that's Lil' Kim. I saw a video of her a couple days ago. She was on stage dancing, and I don't even think she was really dancing because she moves so weirdly. I don't know what she's done to her body. I had to look it up. It says she's 4'11". I don't think there's any way she's anything more than like 3'7". She's so tiny, it's ridiculous. Which, I mean, I understand her name is Lil' Kim, but Ain't no way she's 4'11". It's just crazy how diminutive she is. But she, was a pretty good looking little girl there back in the day when she came out. And now she just looks like a freak because of all the stuff she's done to her face, which I believe is a mental illness, but that's for another day. But, excuse me, I can't shake this cough. 3 weeks later, I'm still coughing. Totally healed, still coughing. I don't understand that. But anyway, I don't understand what she's done. It appears that she's had butt implants and all kinds of other implants and cheek implants. It's crazy. But it makes me very uncomfortable to see her walk and move around and do what she was doing. To the point that I started making a list of things that make me uncomfortable. And she was one of them. She was one of the top ones that I put on there. I'll tell you one more thing that makes me uncomfortable is people that are Disney adults. People that don't have kids that go to Disney like 2, 3, 7, 4, 8 times a year. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's not the happiest place on earth. I've been there. It's not that impressive. Now, if you got kids, I can understand why they'd be mesmerized by it. But if you're an adult still dropping like $8,000 in 4 days, I don't understand, your logic on anything. In fact, I knew a girl, which I know several Disney adults, and I deleted their numbers and I shy away from them as best I can in my life. But this girl was in her late 20s, and she hooked up with a guy who was like in his mid 40s, who lost his wife, I think. I think she just dropped dead in the kitchen one day or something like that. And so they hooked up somehow. They worked together, and I worked with him, and he came in one day. He's like, "Hey, our house is being built, and we're moving in this next weekend, and could you help us move?" So me and some other buddies were like, "Yeah, sure." So we meet up there on Saturday, and we start moving people. And when you move people, you expect to have a bunch of heavy boxes as a kitchen, and then a couple awkward couches that barely fit through a 36-inch door. I think we should have 47-inch doors in houses, but I shouldn't have to take the feet off a couch to get it through the door. I shouldn't have to play like Tetris to get the damn thing through the house. But at any rate, we get over there, and there is not 1 ton, but about 19 tons of Disney crap. This bitch owned everything. It was crazy. It was crazy. Now, I think, if I recall, she had lost her father. He left a lot of money. She lived with her mom. And apparently she used all of her dad's money to buy a bunch of knickknacks from Disney. Like everything you can think of. Daisy and Donald and Mickey and Minnie and Scooter and Weehoo and Comet and Cupid and Vix, all the other Muppets and everything in Disney. It was just insane. It was insane. I mean, we're talking like 4-foot dolls and every princess or whatever you can think of. It was insane. And we get over to their new house, and I'm like, "What in the hell is that?" And I was like, "What are you into, trains?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What is this damn 12-foot shelf you've got going around an entire living room?" And he's like, "Oh, that's for all the Disney stuff." And I'm like, "Dear God, this marriage will never last." And it didn't. They broke up, she started dating another dude who had separated from his wife, and that wife started dating the other guy. They basically just switched wives. And then the one girl, the Disney girl, stopped dating the guy and started dating girls. It's a whirlwind romance. But I think that's what you get when you deal with Disney people. You get weird relationships that never last. Probably people speaking out of pocket, but that's okay. Nevertheless, Lil' Kim and Disney people make me feel weird when I see them. So there's that. Y'all have a good evening. Kitty, I need mustard.